Welcome, welcome. I'm going to get us started because I want to leave enough time to be able to study together and learn together. My name is Rabbi Deborah Goldberg, for those I haven't met yet. On behalf of the entire clergy team and staff here at Congregation Rodeph Sholom, we're so glad to welcome you here. We're excited to spend a little bit of Shabbat together studying and learning, and then we'll get a chance to eat and spend some time together afterwards. Let me do sort of the formal introduction before I turn it over to our guest and to our guest teacher. As many of you know, Rabbi Brian Zachary Mayer grew up at Congregation Rodeph Sholom. We love when people who grew up here come back to tell us about all the wonderful things that they are doing. Over the years, he's returned to CRS for a lot of sacred family milestones. He's been here for his niece's B'nai Mitzvah. He's eulogized his father here at Congregation Rodeph Sholom, and he's here this morning to be our teacher of Torah. In 2006, he founded Religion Outside the Box, a platform reimagining spiritual connection beyond institutional walls. His third and most beloved book, Rabbi Brian's Highly Unorthodox Gospel, offers a heartfelt, humorous look at religious autonomy, spiritual authority, and the divine. It's my honor to invite Rabbi Brian Mayer to share some words of Torah with us this morning.
Yay. Okay, first I'm just going to stare at all of you because this is a dream come true, and I don't want to not be here. So really, I'm going to speak into the microphone. Hello. Okay, wonderful. Glad you guys are all. I really like. Okay, Jews, calm down. Anyone else want to heckle? Let's go for it. I taught high school math to kids who did not want to learn high school math, so y'all don't scare me. I'm good. We all ready? All right. Word came to Rabbi Brian in Portland, Oregon, saying, "Proclaim unto the people the heart of religion is to practice love, compassion, and kindness. And while you're at it, ask them to stop being jerks and maybe suggest they calm down a bit and accept their finitude." But disembodied voice, responded the oversized yarmulke-wearing, slim-styled, bearded man. I don't rabbi like that anymore. I dropped out of organized religion. I teach high school math. Perfect, says the voice. Take all you've learned and write an honest, narrative-driven, big idea book. Preach compassion, kindness, and love for anyone curious of what a modern-day rabbi would write in a gospel. Chapter 2. Hi, I'm Rabbi Brian, the author of this gospel, which, by the way, I didn't realize when I picked the title how the word gospel was really going to throw Jews off. I was using the phrase, reality check. I neither hear nor heed disembodied voices. Well, that has the exception of voices coming from speakers and headphones. But I'm using the phrase word came to Rabbi Brian as a literary device and to establish my relationship with the biblical genre. And I wanted early on to establish my beguiling first-person singular narration in breaking the fourth wall. Anyhow, I worked as a regular rabbi until I could no longer maintain that the benefits of tribal affiliation should be prioritized over compassion, kindness, and love. I'm delighted you are here hearing these words about love for self and others. I'm going to skip around in the book a little bit. This is a section. Hi, welcome. This is a section entitled, Thou Shalt Be Thy Own Authority. Perhaps, and I only say perhaps to soften the message, perhaps an external deity isn't the true authority of your spiritual religious life. Perhaps, and again saying just perhaps to soften the idea, no person outside of yourself is the best authority on your spiritual life. Perhaps it's you. Forget about perhaps. Of course it's you. You are the true authority of your spiritual religious life. If anyone asks you to read this book or attend this session, a parent, a clergy person, a friend, a spouse, and you don't want to be reading, you don't want to be here, please tell them, Rabbi Brian wrote right here, it's okay for me not to read this book. And if you don't want to be here, Rabbi Brian invites you. There are cookies out in the hall. Seriously, if this isn't working for you, put this book down. The freedom for you to make your own decisions is super important. Of course, if you want to continue to read, to stay here, please do. I created this book for you I created this book for you with the message, you are the foremost authority on your spiritual religious life. Amen. Los Angeles, 1995. Third year of rabbinical school, there's a note in my school mailbox. I check it obsessively. Later, when cell phones and social media come around, I'll check those obsessively too. The note reads, Brian, Dean Beisel would like to see you in his office immediately after class today. I recognize the handwriting. It's Marcy, his adorable receptionist. I arrive. I guess when you're summoned, you summons. I say Seinfeld-like when I arrive. Marcy chuckles. I smile. The inner office door opens. The tall dean in a blue blazer says, come on in and thanks for coming. Of course I came. I was summoned. I sit. Brian, he starts, signaling exasperation. The meeting concerns an introduction to Judaism class I'm teaching at one of LA's two gay synagogues. It turns out the dean had heard that I taught my class that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob probably weren't father, son, and grandson as presented in the Bible. As I explained to the class, these are just stories, perhaps from different tribes, explaining how they came to be one larger, more cohesive unit. Brian, he says, you have to be careful with whom you share the truth. I realize I'm living in a small Jewish fishbowl where someone in my class can complain to their rabbi that the student teacher questioned the reality that the stories in the Bible aren't true, and that's a big enough deal for the rabbi to call the dean to castigate me. We chat for a little until it's time for me to leave. Thanks for taking this in good spirits, Brian. I certainly hoped you would, he says. Well, thank you for admonishing me, I say, smiling. Summons me anytime. He laughs politely. Later in life, I will reevaluate my instinctual desire to fawn and please authority. But hey, I say casually on the way out the door, might you recommend a therapist? I have some things I feel I need to work out. I think but do not say. Like, how am I supposed to teach what I don't believe is true? 1997, Los Angeles. A clever Los Angeles synagogue where I previously interned wants to avoid competing for my services as a rabbi on the open market after I finish rabbinical school. They convinced the seminary to let me finish my 5th year remotely, and it's agreed I will write my thesis in Los Angeles and return to New York to give my senior sermon to the whole school. 80% rabbi, the congregation tells me, means I'm paid 4/5 of a first-year rabbi's salary. I take it. Jane and I moved back to Los Angeles, and on July 1st, 1997, my first day at work, I'm the junior rabbi at Temple Judea in Tarzana, a wealthy, progressive San Fernando Valley suburb of 40,000 named for the estate of Johnny Weissmuller. In my office, instead of putting certificates and diplomas on the wall, I put a series of black IKEA Fisco frames to share my thoughts about my job. The sign reads, religion ought not shackle or limit people in their attempts to seek the divine. It should set them free. The congregation discovers what they bargained, literally, for when I conduct high holiday services. I, in a white robe, preached the same sermon to 2 shifts of celebrants in the main sanctuary and to another group at the overflow service. More than 1,000 people will hear my words from their new rabbis. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends I have not met, I stand here about to deliver my first official rabbi sermon to you. It will focus on imploring you to become an organ donor. I pause and attempt to deliver the next sentence as though it's improvised. I didn't know what else to really preach on. Pockets of awkward laughter. That's not true, I say. I knew what else I could preach on. And here, ladies and gentlemen, are the titles of the top 10 high holiday sermons you will not be hearing tonight. Number 10, shofar, cruelty to animals, or just blowing hot air. Number 9, the great big fish and other stories. Number 8, the book of life, 5,757 years on the bestseller list. Number 7, fasting your way to forgiveness. Number 6, I would like to encourage all of you to laugh like this gentleman is showing us we can do. This is live. Number 6, Judaism. It's not just for the high holidays anymore. Number 5, how to pick the locks on the gate of repentance. Number 4, the 2-outfit 4-day dilemma. That's one of my favorites. Laughter erupts. Number 3, is full redemption possible without a receipt? Number 2, is that final H really necessary? And number 1, please don't get high on the holidays. New York City, 1982. This is entitled, This Religion Stuff is Triggery. Before I read it, quick question. Anybody around my age remember the video game Kangaroo? One person. This is a record now. Nobody else remembers this game? It's mentioned in this. You'll see it. This religion stuff is triggery. Little man, a voice coos from behind me. Why don't you accept Jesus in your heart? It's the modestly dressed African-American lady with the radiant smile who I pass in front of Yum Yum Ice Cream Shop on 72nd and Broadway. She must have followed me in. I'm 12 years old and I've stopped to play a video game at the back of the very narrow store. It's Kangaroo. I have 3 chances as a mama marsupial with boxing gloves to avoid apple-throwing monkeys. It's apparently just for, yeah, okay, coming back to you, right? She has accosted me before asking me to say, Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. And I've ignored her before and do so again, eyes focused ahead. I'm trying to save my blindfolded Joey held captive at the top of the screen. The seduction reaches a new level today. I know you can hear me, beautiful boy with those beautiful eyelashes. Beautiful child, I know you hear me. I see you smiling right now. I blush. I want to say it just to please her. Say it for me just once, sugar. Say it for me. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. Intoxicated, I parrot the 7 words back. She claps her hands and exclaims, oh, thank you, beautiful. Thank you. Oh, praise Jesus. My game ends and I turn to see her effulgent smile. I want to stay for an eternity in that warm feeling of her looking at me, seeing me, pleased by me. But she isn't there. She has left. I never see her again. My elation is replaced with shame. I feel dirty for having said those 7 words. I'm a Jewish kid after all. I'm not supposed to have said that. Am I now Christian? Will there be a note in my permanent record? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not sure, and I never mentioned this incident to anyone. Okay, different show of hands. Upper West Side people. The Cottage restaurant used to be on 77th in Amsterdam. Okay, good. These are my people. New York City, 1993. I'm 23 years old, and I've recently been accepted to rabbinical school. It's June, and I fly to Jerusalem in August. I've taken myself to lunch at my favorite Chinese restaurant, The Cottage at 77th in Amsterdam. I bring the blue, thick, yellow-jacketed hardcover copy of the Tanakh, the Holy Scriptures. It's on the seminary list of required books. I didn't really realize this, but there's more than one version of the Bible, and this one apparently is the one my team prefers. I page past the preface, prologue, and forward. I stare at Genesis. When God began, it reads. What? That's not the way I thought it began. I thought it began with in the beginning. A tiny squiggle footnote. When I locate it at the bottom of, it's made at the bottom of the screen page, my discomfort is acknowledged. Others, it says, in the beginning, God created. Okay, I'm getting a little confused. This thing doesn't make sense. It's all right. Chapter 1 tells about how creation happens with the culmination of humanity, male and female being made at one time in the image of God. And then chapter 2 tells a different story completely, Eve being fashioned from Adam's side. No footnote on how that's possible. I continue reading to where it seems like God lies, outwardly lies. God tells the presumed progenitors of humanity, touch the fruit of the tree of good and evil and you will die, certainly die. But in the storyline, they touch the fruit and they don't die. I pick up a pen and write in the margin and circle it, they don't die. Suddenly, well, they do eventually. Suddenly, fear overtakes me. I've done something wrong. A feeling in the pit of my stomach. I've done something really wrong because, and I don't know where I learned it, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to write in a Bible in pen. And this takes place here at Rodeph Sholom in the sanctuary. New York City, 1979. I'm 9 years old. I'm fidgeting with a bendable bug robot man hybrid with translucent pop-out wings. I'm seated with my mom, my dad, my sister. We're in row G, rabbi side of the sanctuary. Seth Bernstein, known in my family as the young rabbi, is running Rosh Hashanah family services. I'll be him one day, but I don't know it. As the rabbi clears his throat, Dad pushes a button on his Casio wristwatch. A tiny beep indicates the stopwatch has started. Dad times the sermons and records the minutes, seconds, and few words of the subject in the back of his prayer book. I'm not listening to the rabbi. I'm 9 years old. I'm looking at the flashing lights outside, reflecting in the stained glass windows that face 83rd. There are squad cars outside, several, I figure, but I can't be certain how many. Rodeph Sholom, a giant 1930s Romanesque synagogue building, is deliberately on a side street off the park so as to be less visible, safer, because anti-Semitism. The Spanish and Portuguese synagogue faces Central Park West, and later in life I'll tour that synagogue safe room hidden below the congregation by a false floor panel. In my young mind, I can see white circles and black painted swastikas on the side of each patrol car. No one is panicking. It's too late for us, and we know it. I know what will happen next. We will line up like we do at school with our families. The Nazis outside will take us away. I stare at the flashing lights through the windows, and I wonder if the Nazis will let me keep my toy. I hope so. I know I need to remember this moment for later in life, to remember this feeling, this story, so I can tell it to my grandchildren about the happy years I lived before the Nazis got us. I don't remember much else from the evening. Years later, I realize it was probably an ambulance. Generational trauma is real. New York City, 2011. I leave Dad's hospital room, push the large button on the wall to open the hallway doors, exit to take a break. A young chassid dressed like Polish Russian gentry of the 18th century follows me through the door. It's Saturday, Shabbos, the Sabbath. No work is allowed, says the Bible and commentaries that come after it. But then there's a question of what constitutes work. In classical Judaism, work is defined as the 39 activities that went into the creation of the tabernacle in the desert, as described in the Torah. Winnowing is one of the activities, and I never winnow, not even on the Sabbath. To winnow means to blow a current of air to separate the chaff from the wheat. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Okay, then don't do it. I'm looser about some other parts, like igniting a fire. That's not work for me. And sitting by a fire on a cold Portland evening feels like a Shabbat activity, so I do it. Some interpret electricity to be a form of lighting fire, but not me. That's why this guy can't push the button to open the electronic doors. His anachronistic outfit and groupthink rule following makes people see him as more Jewish than me. And that drives me crazy. I am, after all, to quote Walter, played by John Goodman in The Big Lebowski, as Jewish as fucking Tevye. He and I walk together. I adjust my winter cap on my head and I reach up to push the second button to open the second set of mechanical doors, to step into the lobby. Before I do so, I say a perfectly intuned Good Shabbos. It's what Jews in the know say to each other on the Sabbath. Stunned, he lets out an incredulous, "You're Jewish?" "Of course I'm Jewish," I say as I catch his eye and wink. "You?" Before I continue, I had a thought that I never had before in doing a book reading. Usually we save all the questions and answers for the end. And I thought maybe there's like a factual question that's hanging you up right now, and I don't want you to have to wait all the way to the end and not understand what's going on. So is there I've never done this in the middle of a talk before. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure, this is a factual question.
We'll find out.
What I'm hearing is sort of totally in accordance with my understanding of what Reform Judaism is. Okay, to say you make your own choice.
Personal autonomy. It's a hallmark of Reform Judaism.
Right.
Amen.
Is that what you're talking about today?
If that's what you're hearing, that's what I'm talking about. I firmly believe that we should all make up our own minds. Okay, thank you for asking. This is a section from the book of Genesis, the beginning, New York City, 1975. It's called In the Beginning, Love Saw. Where's my sister? There's my sister. She features in a few of these things. Some of you might have seen her on the New York One. sell that? Thank you. New York City, 1975. Every night when the phone rings after dinner, we say, 7 o'clock, grandma's calling. I'm 5 years old. My grandma calls every night at 7 p.m. I stand in the living room holding the black metal telephone handset with my two small hands. She ends our phone call like this always. I tell her, Grandma, I have a secret. She says, Tatala, I have a secret too. You know what it is, I say. And she says, yes, Tatala, I love you. It's our little secret. I smile, say bye, and place the telephone handset back on the base of the phone. Her secret with me is the same one she has with my sister and my cousins. Each one of us is her favorite. It's an amazing thing I've learned about love. It can make 5 individuals each a grandmother's favorite. New York City, 1978. My sister Sari and I are kids, 11 and 8. Fiddler on the Roof songbook with the yellow Chagall painting-inspired cover sits atop the living room piano. We are singing our favorite duet. She plays and I sing. She asks if asking if she loves, I sing, asking if she loves me. She responds shrilly, like Golda in the play, and I repeat, do you love me? As scripted, she repeats the question, sings about being busy, mocks the question, and accuses me, Tevye, of having indigestion. She calls me a fool. I respond flatly, knowingly, I know. Were there an audience in the living room, it would have gotten a laugh. But I continue, back to the question, do you love me? She responds again without answering until finally she relents. I love you. 1985, New York City. Ava, the therapist, says to my father, Donald, your daughter expressed that she wants to hear you say, I love you. Can you tell her? Sari, on a break from college, is sitting in a repurposed classroom chair in the Upper West Side apartment bedroom turned therapy office. She looks forward, her eyes wide and unblinking. Dad chokes back tears as he tries to speak. His left hand rotates in small circles as though to say, I'm working on getting the words together to say something. His right hand navigates on top of his glasses to position his thumb and pinky over his eyes. You can tell he's anxious. He manages, you can tell her that her father loves her. Ava, can you tell her directly? She cannot. He cannot. 1997, New York City. Eric, raise your hand. That's Eric. Can you say Louvre? I asked my buddy Eric, with whom I've known since we were 2. We're in our mid to late 20s. We're at a bar. He's in a bit of a panic as his girlfriend, soon to be fiance and later bride, has told him that she loves him. He knows if he can't get those words out of his mouth, the relationship will end. So we practice Louvre, like love, but with an ooh sound, like the Louvre I coach. Can you say that? As in, I love you? I love you? We practice until he gets those sounds out. He and Pam are still married. I got to officiate. Portland, Oregon, 2016. Just to give you a sense, I've already worked as a congregational rabbi. I moved from that. I'm now teaching high school math because it's hard to figure out what to do with a rabbinic degree if you don't want to do rabbiing that well. Portland, Oregon, 2016. It's my 7th year teaching math. I've gotten pretty good at it. I love my students, and because they can feel my reckless amounts of love and compassion, I'm their favorite teacher. Well, for most of them anyway. It's the last week of instruction at De La Salle North Catholic High School. I give the students their final early so they can retake it if they want to, so they wouldn't have all their finals in 1 week. Yes, it's a Catholic school. Yes, I'm an ordained rabbi, and yes, I'm teaching algebra. I needed to do something after dropping out of organized religion. I'll explain that soon. And schools are always desperate for math teachers. I tell each of my 5 class periods, today and tomorrow, I'm going to tell each of you what I like about you. I'm going to go one by one and tell each of you something I admire or what you mean to me. But, I continue, 2 caveats. 1, you can drop out. You can opt out. Put your hand up or tell me when it gets to your turn that you want to pass and I will skip you. No harsh feelings. That's cool. And caveat 2, the things I'm about to say are the opinions of one 40-something-year-old white male. If what I'm saying is true or accurate, take what you like, leave the rest. One by one, over the course of 2 days, I go through the room. Having spent 130 instructional hour time with them, I know something meaningful about each student. Amanda, when I look at you, I see someone who is fierce on the outside, a bit scared on the inside, someone who is brave enough to let us in and get to know her. I see someone who has great hair, someone who seems to know exactly how to make her friends laugh. Tissues get passed. DJ, I know when I see you that you are determined to save the one and only life you can, your own. I see a dedicated son, a hard worker, a poet, an artist, someone who knows how to put in the hours to get towards the all-elusive promise of perfection. I see someone who insists on living a bully-free life, and I'm delighted to have met you. No one ever opts out. My students were starving to be seen, to feel seen. And that's not just because of their low socioeconomic status. Most teenagers are starving to feel seen. And how about you? Are you hungry to be seen? It's a human longing to want to be seen, even if we pretend otherwise. Love begins when we see each other. Portland, Oregon, 2012. Last week, with my right eye swollen shut from surgery, to remove a carcinoma on my upper right cheek. I biked to my local Trader Joe's to do some shopping. Francis at the checkout counter asked, "How do you do today?" Honestly, today, I'm feeling the feels. I paused to look to see if she is in fact listening and she is. I continue. I'm having a hard time. I'm feeling a bit vain from my surgery, if you want an honest answer. I love honest answers. Thank you for that. As she scans, I bag my fruits, cheese, and veggies, along with a decent amount of unhealthy snacks. She asks me which item in my cart is my favorite. Chocolate-covered marshmallows, I tell her, and then I add, though the label on the side is patently wrong. I explain that the serving size is not 2 light and delicious marshmallows drenched in smooth, dark chocolate, but in fact 1 box. I'd like to buy you that 1 single serving box, she says, and I weep a little into my mask. Being seen is powerful. Here, now. If you were seated next to me in the 1990s on an airplane flight, you might see me do a variety of one-handed cuts and card shuffles. A desperate cry at 40,000 feet for some attention. Were you to comment on my dexterity with a pack of playing cards, which is my hope, I would gladly show you a solid hour of magic tricks. I've since learned that most people have an appetite for about 3 tricks. Sometime after the age of 40, I learned that I had something far more valuable to share. It was what I was hiding behind me. It was what I was hiding behind the cards, me. In graduate school for education, I learned classroom management technique of handing out stickers. Sticker economy is mainly, hold on, I brought some with me. Show and tell. I learned a classroom management technique to hand out stickers as an extrinsic motivator. A sticker economy is mainly targeted at classrooms filled with ages 10 and under. I'm not afraid of an experiment failing, and I figure my high school students, better wired for abstraction, will enjoy getting smiley face stickers in the color of your choice. I carry them around and I give one away when I like something I see. Luis, you get a sticker for interrupting and asking me to explain. Nicole, you get a sticker for helping Matt. And Matt, you get a sticker for asking Nicole for help. Taryn, you were on time and in your seat ready before the bell for the first time this week. It's sticker time. What color do you want? Some put stickers on the covers of their binders to brag about themselves. They love it. High school kids want love and to be seen just as much as 10-year-olds do. They're just not as good as asking for validation. And what about you? You're an adult. Adults are the same as high school students and worse. We all want to be seen for who we are. It's just, for the most part, we stink at asking for hugs or love or stickers. I'd like to suggest that we re-examine this default position. Why can't we ask for love? Why can't you be the most effusive, most loving person of all the people you know? What do you have to lose? Hold on, lost my place. Let's change this world. Let's change this world by being more vulnerable, more heartfelt, more compassionate, more kind, more loving. Let's peel back the shell to present as human, allowing others to see us as more than just fine. I see you, dear reader, seeking love, desiring to have more love more of the time. This book is my box of marshmallows for you. I'll take that. Thank you. Hold on. I know, I got the stickers. So with the book, hold on, I will get to that, I promise. New York City, 1983. Passover Seder was on Monday this year. It's a Friday night and the sun is about to set. The four of us in the family are in the black Volvo GLT wagon in the tan leather interior. We're headed to Litchfield County, Connecticut, to the family's place in the country. Well, it's a condo in the planned gated community, but for us, it's the country. We have to use these coupons today or before they expire, says my sister as she holds up the Burger King calendar with its monthly discounts at the bottom. Never a family to leave money on the table. We reach Danbury, take exit 7 for the Burger King drive-thru. After paying, but before we leave the lot, we take the buns off the bacon double cheeseburger and substitute matzah that we brought. It's Passover after all. Los Angeles, 1998. While working as a rabbi at Temple Judea, I feel like a silver kiddush cup with a hole leaking wine. Sure, there are good moments that fill me up, but there's still a leak. My cup is full when I'm true to myself at the pulpit, engaging in gently teasing my congregants. By a show of hands, I ask, how many of you believe in life after death? About a third of the hands go up. And how many of you don't believe in life after death? Another show of hands. Finally, how many of you don't really know or didn't raise your hands? A third raises their hands. Similarly, I announce, so about a third of you believe in life after death, a third of you don't, and a third of you don't know. Can I ask you a favor then? Would you stop getting on my case when I don't have a simple answer when you ask, Rabbi, can you tell me, do Jews believe in life after death? It's complicated. It is always complicated. Hold on. So the stickers my beloved sister was holding up is within this book. Can't find that page. Hold on. It's going to happen later. Oh no. Strange show it. We're moving to the Book of Malarkey. Writing a book is really hard. And there was a day that I figured out the word malarkey would be great to have this entire section called the Book of Malarkey. And that was all the work I got done that day, but I was still really proud. Kosher kindness. New York City, 2022. We're at the dining room table at my mom's New York City apartment. I grew up having our more formal family dinners here in this room, decorated with Polish Cirque posters and built-in wooden cabinets. We're in town to celebrate my youngest niece's bat mitzvah. Hi, Ollie. We're in New York to celebrate my youngest niece's bat mitzvah. Emmett, my son, is surfing the web on a laptop. I'm working on backing up and restoring Jane's iPhone, which is burning through mobile data. Ira, mom's beau, sits to the left of Emmett, fidgeting with the camera. Jane is seated to my right, helping me. Mom, she doesn't sit. She likes to hover. I recount the following story about an incident from the bat mitzvah party. This is me speaking. Between loud songs and loud games as the kids are playing, a woman I don't know gestures to me to my hat and says, "So, Rabbi, you wear a hat. Do you keep kosher?" I know how this is going to go. I've had this question before. If I tell her I don't, she'll tell me she does, and she'll leave feeling she's better than a rabbi. This has happened a lot. And as I've done this dance before, I don't answer with a simple binary no. Instead, I give a quality answer, one which, if she were to listen and actually want to learn something, she could learn. I answer, kosher is more about what comes out of my mouth than what goes in. That's a good quote, isn't it? Don't get too excited. Hold on. Kosher is more about what comes out of my mouth than what goes in. But she wasn't there to learn. She doesn't register what I say. So on script, she says, "Well, I keep kosher," and she leaves. At the table, Ira's thick Boston accent Boston accent joins in. Kid, that's quite a good answer there. I don't do a really good Boston accent. I know that. Kid, you did a good answer there. Good answer. Yes, sir, a thinker. Kosher is not about what comes out of my mouth as what goes in. I see. Thanks, Ira. It's a quote from Jesus, actually. The Gospel of Mark and Matthew. People never hear it, though. Ira plays along. Is that so? Yeah, right after the Sermon on the Mount, the best quote about what kosher means comes from what might be considered the least kosher of all sources. Mom interjects. Emmett, look that up. I don't register anything off with Mom's request/demand of her grandson, but Jane does. Jane lifts her hands from the table, puts her hands on her head, momentarily shakes her head, and then with a half smile says, Jesus. She continues with the Jedi's ability to not elicit hostility. Jesus, Elaine, your son's a rabbi, a New Testament scholar. You can believe him. Still exasperation-free, Jane pushes her chair from the table, excuses herself with a very pleasant, Oy vey, it's been a fun night, good night all. Echoes of good night, Jane, follow. An interesting question, I say to my mom, is whether Jesus said unclean or unfit. They're different after all. We can't tell from the Greek. Kosher is also keeping others from feeling shame. So you know, the word kosher doesn't appear in the Bible until books written after the exile into Babylon in 586 BCE. The early books of the Bible talk about foods being clean and unclean. The notion of fit or unfit for our group's consumption is a later concept. Kosher isn't about things being clean, it's about them being suitable for being eaten as members of a cohort. About an hour later, still at the table, still working on Jane's iPhone, Emmett, my mom, and Ira have moved on. Jane wanders back in. Did your mom apologize? She asks. Yeah, later on, she came back in. What'd she say? She said, I wasn't being insulting to you. I wanted Emmett to learn not to take things as facts without checking them out. Jane tells me, that's not an apology. I tell her, sure it is. I took it as one. A quote from the author Robert Brault. Today I bent the truth to be kind, and I have no regrets, for I am far surer of what is kind than I am of what is true. I'm going to read that one more time. Today I bent the truth to be kind, and I have no regrets, for I am far surer of what is kind than I am of what is true. A true spiritual religious life is about keeping people from shame. What came out of my mouth, kind words, are what kosher is about. Words fit for saying. Okay, so the next part I was going to read, I teach it so much better in person than I do reading it. And as we are here in person, I'm going to not read it. I'm going to just teach it. Okay, I appreciate the nods. Yeah, good. It's a 4-part definition of love. It's a work of Dr. Logan Fox. There are 4 parts of love, and they spell S-A-U-R. You can all hear me well enough? I'm going to move a little bit. S-A-U-R. Shar. Everyone say that with me. Good. Those are the 4 parts of love are S-A-U-R. They're not in order. It's not an order you have to do them in. This is just, these are the 4 things that make love love. The first letter is, that stands for seeing. You have to see someone to love them. You have to acknowledge them. You have to look at them. You have to make eye contact. You have to make them feel heard, which is part of seeing, even though it's hearing, but you understand what I'm talking about. The first aspect of love is seeing. The least loving thing you can do is ignore someone. Everyone remembers. I don't have to ask you, but let's just do it. Show of hands, how many remember being on the wrong end of a silent treatment? How did it feel? Awful. Seeing. The next letter is A. Good job. This one was S. Accepting. Love, you have to see someone, you have to accept them. You have to accept them as they are. You say, this is who you are. Who you are is who you are. It's not, I love you, now change. It's accepting. You don't have to love everyone, although I do suggest it. Seeing. Understanding. Nice. You all want stickers? Yes. Okay, good. Seeing.
Understanding.
Understanding means, well, I might not have done what you did, but I understand because you are who you are. It's related to accepting, but I understand why you did what you had to do. I'm not blaming you for it. I'm accepting it. I'm understanding it. We're going to get to the last one, which is going to be respond. But first, I got to do a little review. This was a seeing,
Accepting. Understanding.
responding.
Responding.
If you do these three, but you don't actually let the person know, then really, like, what good is it? To love, be loved, you have to have response. You have to let the person know. The checkout person at Trader Joe's who's got the bright pink hair. I say, oh, wow, you have bright pink hair. They know they have bright pink hair, but I'm doing this. I'm not saying dye that out. I'm letting it be. Hey, you have bright pink hair. Seeing, accepting, that's pretty cool. And I'm talking to you about it. That's love. Let's just do one more review. Love has got 4 parts to it. This is where learning is not just hearing something, it's engaging with it, making sure it happens. This is a seeing,
Accepting. Understanding. Responding.
good job, group. Yeah. Right, that's the thing, is hearing is some part under the category of listening. Listening is part of seeing. Yes.
Because you can hear something but not really listen to understand it.
I should have just walked away. Right? If I just walked away and I didn't make it that I heard what you said, it would not be loving. So sometimes hearing is part of seeing, which is weird because they're different senses, but I think we're all old enough to understand what I mean. That was kind of obnoxious. We're all old enough. That means that if you didn't understand it, you're not old. So I don't like how I said that. If that still doesn't make sense to you, please raise your hand and let me know. That hearing can be part of seeing. Okay. Good. Thank you for asking. We're going to page 176. We're going to 237. We only have 2 more parts to do. 237. Yeah.
Way to respond other than speaking, like with seeing, you can see your how else is one respond?
There are infinite ways of responding. I can give you a sticker without saying anything and you know. Doc, does that make sense? Oh, and I hate that phrase. Does that make sense? I have a new personal vendetta against using it. Do you know what I mean? Like, what kind of option do you have? It's like, right?
I'm just trying to be seen.
Everyone is. Irony might not be the right word. The fact that I have all of your eyeballs facing me right now is like the desperate guy who really, really wants to be seen. But I also have something I really, really want to share. So, yeah, okay. Section, where are we? We are in the book of practices. It's called Practice Loving Your Apparent Enemy. Salem, Oregon, 2017. Emmett is 11, Annie is 9. We're in Salem, Oregon's capital for a women's march. Jane and I joked that the kids are learning local geography from attending protests. We, along with other people unhappy with the State of the Union, are in front of the Capitol building, which looks like a cross between the White House and a Mormon church. There's a man standing on the left corner across the street with a PA system preaching that we're all sinners. And on the right corner, there's a man waving a Nazi flag. Inspired by the Daryl Davis documentary, Accidental Courtesy, and there's a footnote that says, yes, I recommend this. I have a compulsion to go over and talk to one of them. Before I decide which, someone approaches the man with the Nazi flag and shoves him. He falters, and I silently root for him not to fall. He stays up and I have mixed feelings about it, but I know my priority. Violence is never the solution. I cross the street to address the fire and brimstone megaphone evangelist. I giggled to myself for a moment. I've just had the choice between this, the lesser of two evils. I don't know what I'm going to say until I hear his amplified, slightly tinny voice say, "There's not even a preacher here besides me." Well, that's my entrance. "Brother," I say, "you're not the only preacher here." He moves the microphone to his mouth so he and I can talk. I say, amazed that the right words seem to come out of my mouth, "It must be really scary to be where you are right now." Right?
Yeah.
Must be really scary to be where you are right now. He looks at me with hesitation in his eyes and says, "It's scary. This is not what I like doing, but it's what I need to be doing." We exchange names and handshakes. "Can I help?" I ask, earnest, but not certain what I'm offering. He says, "Would you pray with me?" Well, I'd be glad to. What comes to mind is to sing the very calm, grounding prayer for peace, "O say Shalom," the final lines of a 13th century Aramaic prayer with origins in the book of Job, chapter 25. It's beautiful, almost haunting, but I think better of leading with Hebrew, and I stammer, "I come from a slightly different tradition than yours." "It's not a problem," he says, "we're both Christians." Well, I'm Christian enough. It's awkward for a moment. He sees my head covering. He hesitates and asks skeptically, "Do you believe Jesus Christ is the only God?" "I hate binary," I say, and I continue with William Blake's brilliant retort when he was asked the same. "Jesus is the only God, and so am I, and so are you." Wrong answer. Jason turns from me, flips his microphone back down. "We are not gods," his megaphone intones. "We are not gods," he says again and again. "We are not gods." "Brother, I'd sure love to pray with you." "You are not my brother." Jason, you might want to check your Bible again. I'm pretty sure I am. He turns his back to me, picks up again about the wages of sin. I go back to my side of the street and my family. About 15 minutes later, I hear a man unamplified shouting at Jason vehemently. I can't stand idly by and witness this abuse. As Jesus, to whom Jason is devoted, said in Matthew 5, "There's no righteousness in loving those we love. Even hypocrites do that." Jews, we don't always hear that phrase, so I'm going to say that one in case you never heard that before. There's no righteousness in loving those we love. Even hypocrites do that. Before I'm able to get to Jason, the red-faced, screaming woman adds her voice to the man shouting. I make my way between the two shouters and Jason and call for a few folks standing around looking helpless. "Let's make a circle of love around Jason." I put my arms out to demonstrate. 4 or 5 of us hold hands around Jason and form a barrier to keep him away from those shouting at him. It is holy. Outnumbered and outclassed, the shouters, people on my side, politically, disperse. Sometime after I've returned to my family, I look up to see Jason walking off with police officers on either side of him. Oh no. I catch up just as the cops and he are parting ways. I say, "Jason, I hope you're not feeling like you were thrown out of here." "No," he says, and our eyes meet. I see for a moment into his beautiful, beautiful soul. I imagine him as a little kid being abused, and therefore thinking that abuse means love. I figure, why else would someone put themselves out to be abused if not to reenact some childhood trauma? We walk at the same pace in silence until he says, "I'm actually a shy man." He tells me he's glad that we met and how I can find him on the internet if I look up YouTube for Oregon Jesus Preacher. Later, I look him up and see accounts of many of his other protests, including some where he's been knocked unconscious by people on my side. I leave a comment on his YouTube channel. "Brother Jason, it was beautiful to get to meet you in Salem, a highlight of my trip." He hearts my comment and writes, "I looked at what you put up on the web and think you have some interesting things." Later, and it hurts my heart to see, he takes our exchange down. This is the last section. Oh, here, I found it. So the book has little places for you to put the activity stickers. Sorry, show them the activity stickers. The book comes with activity stickers and a bookmark and I'll just also say, this is self-published. Couldn't find a publisher or an agent to pick it up. And an agent friend said to me, "You're really lucky that you didn't get picked up by a publicist. You didn't get picked up by a publisher, because they never would have let you write this and put in a sticker book. So it's going really well. Section 5.4. Oh, anyone who went to the Collegiate School for Boys, please raise your hand. Okay, there's 3 of them. We were all in school together for 12 years. It's a thing. But, the birthright of love. St. George said, see, the whole God thing got out of hand because God is us. Most religions have said, love God, love your neighbor, love yourself. And without saying it, they meant because basically it's the same guy. George Carlin was right. That was why I called him St. George. I thought that was much funnier than any of you reacted. George Carlin was right. We can't love others until we really love ourselves, and we can't love ourselves without loving others. They're different paths up the same mountain, infinites of equal size. Love yourself, love others, love God. Fred Rogers told me he liked me exactly as I am, and I believed him. He sang about it, about me liking him exactly and precisely, without a doubt or question, just as I am. And why would he lie? A meme I saw. Me, I love you. You. You don't even know me. Me. If people can hate for no reason, I can love. It's an odd idea for people to take in that we are loved and deserve to be loved just as we are. Beloved, we are deserving of love, not just because we earn it, but because we are, because we exist, because being beloved is our birthright. While it might have been nice if we all started out with love that was unconditional positive regard, most of us learned that love is conditional. Prostitution. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross of the book On Death and Dying fame talked that we all learned at young ages that we would only get love if we performed as the adults around us wanted us to. Parents ooh and ah over babies who coo. We applaud toddlers who memorize songs. Much of the love we receive, she taught, is conditional. To refer to this, she used the very loaded term prostitution. It's a second dictionary definition of prostitution, quote, the unworthy or corrupt use of one's talents for the sake of gain. I'm going to use this provocative word because I think that the shock of it is warranted to awaken us to how toxic this message was and still is. Our safety was and often is based on pleasing those around us. We learn to think of love as something we have to earn. Oh, beloved, of course you owe nothing for love. You are beloved, as is. The poet Hafiz said, even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, you owe me. New York City, 1985. I'm 15 years old. Last class period of the school day is over. I'm looking for people to hang with before I go home. I like being with people. It helps me feel seen, real, loved, though I doubt I would have put it that way at the time. I do a sweep of the 6th floor library. None of my friends are there. I exit the stairwell and count each of the 42 steps up to the 8th floor where the music and art departments are. I meander into the art room. Sometimes I do homework there with friends or just goof around thinking about doing homework. Can I help? Asks an attentive woman I do not know in a green canvas smock. No, just wandering, possibly meandering, I say. Over-intellectual, overachiever. She beams, would you like to try the still life the 4th grade class was just painting? Maybe it's easier for children younger to believe that someone likes them just as they are because they're close to the age where babies ideally get love for just being. Adults are a bit more skeptical about the messages of love. Many adults, and maybe even you, believe, if you really got to know me, you wouldn't still love me. I can tell you, with statistical evidence, that is not true, because anyone I have ever met and really gotten to know, I have liked. Green smocked lady brings me over to a tableau of shoes on a table and pulls out a chair, inviting me to sit. She tells me she's a sub for the lower schooler and asks, would you like to try your hand at a watercolor this afternoon? Spellbound, I put my backpack down and start on a pencil outline of on a half sheet of watercolor paper. What if we allowed love in? What if we stopped repeating and believing the terrible things we tell ourselves? What if we allowed ourselves to be as we might have been as children, exactly lovable as we are? Let's use our giant intellects and hearts of loving kindness to get more love in the world. I love it, Green Smock Lady says a few minutes later, looking at my drawing. You're kidding. No, the colors, the abstraction, it's really quite good. I look at it. It looks nothing like the reality I see. She's probably a happy-go-lucky type of person. Unless she's comparing my work to that of the little kids with whom she worked all day. Or unless, could it be? Could it be that what I did was wonderful? Yes. When I'm asked why I stopped teaching high school, I explain, I found a population even more desperate than teenagers for my cajoling them into learning and knowing they are loved. You, adults. You might not believe me, then it has insert your name here. There's a blank. You might not believe me, insert your name here, that you are loved, and that's okay. You can deny it. But Mr. Rogers and I still know that it's true. You are beloved, insert name here, exactly as you are. I feel it only right to tell you that I am not at level 5 near perfect at this. I'm getting better at it all the time. And no, I'm not a natural. I think this is kind of why I'm good at teaching it, because I struggle too. Of course, we still might harbor some doubts that we are loved. You might still think you are not deserving of love, that it's not true. You might hear a voice in your head saying that you are the exception. You are the only person on this earth that doesn't deserve love, but that's not true. I see that happen. I've seen it before, a wrinkle in the system that makes it take longer for some people to believe it than others. Please stay patient. If it doesn't happen all at once for most people, be gentle with yourself. Keep reading. I got you. We got this. It's probably going to take a while, but beloved, you are beloved and worthy of love. Thank you. Questions? Yes, sir.
One curious about, because you talked about, moving boundaries of walls and binaries. And, um, and I'm a bit back in
A combination.
combination of Jewish and Christian wisdom.
Yeah.
Do you agree with the official position of the Reform movement? I know the way it plays out in synagogues across the country is different, but do you believe it should be a requirement for a child of a different family be raised exclusively Jewish in order to be considered Jewish?
Let me answer that in 2 words. Fuck no. We have a Christmas tree in my house. My beloved grew up with a Christmas tree. Okay. We have a Christmas tree in Portland in our house. My wife grew up celebrating Christmas. And to be honest, I did not understand what Christmas was about until I lived it with her for a few years. And it's a beautiful thing. And I feel comfortable enough in my Judaism that having a Christmas tree, I could understand going to Easter services might feel a little weird. I've done that too. But Christmas, I got no problems with Christmas. This rabbi endorses Christmas. Other questions? Don't quote me on that one. No, quote me on it. I don't care. Yes, ma'am. I taught math. Well, I taught love, but I was paid to. Well, so sometimes the people who are Marines say that they're still a Marine no matter what they're doing. I think I'm a rabbi no matter where I am. And I was just a rabbi. And I had more hours with my congregants as a rabbi teaching math than I ever did as a rabbi in a synagogue.
But you didn't feel like conducting services or doing anything you wanted to teach at that point in your life?
I just wanted to help. I wanted to find something to do. And I learned a lot. I learned about teaching. I learned about love. Spending all those hours with kids, I learned a lot. And then I only could do so many things, and my blog was taking off. So I followed the blog and gave up my students and then traded in for adults. Yes, sir.
Kind of a silly question,
No.
because I don't keep coaches, so I think a lot about it weirdly. So if you can't be the kid in this mother's milk, can you be the kid in the different mother's milk?
Yeah, so that whole thing is a mistranslation, by the way. The whole don't boil a kid in his mother's milk. It's mentioned twice in the Torah. Once where it's talking about that you shouldn't rush things, so you shouldn't wean a kid from its mother's milk. And then second time it's picked up in Deuteronomy, which is kind of, I'm not going to go on that tangent. The second time's in Deuteronomy where it talks about boiling, but it's translated differently. So it's mentioned twice. For a long time, I didn't eat milk and meat together. Then I got into rabbinical school. I'm like, I'm Jewish enough. Yes, sir.
So there's this ongoing tension in Judaism between universal and particular.
Right.
And I think I heard you say that you left the pulpit because you were disenchanted with the tribalism. Let me finish.
Yeah. I had a hard time.
Our senior rabbi gave a sermon that at this moment in time, we should not exclusively, but reprioritize being for ourselves a bit more than we have. So could you explain?
I'm not understanding. To be more among ourselves
For us
than what's the opposite?
than the universal.
Okay. I don't know how to respond. He has his opinion. I got mine. Yeah.
So you have turned away from organized religion because of some of the elements, but isn't there a value in community, the sense of community that one gets and can't, the values that you are celebrating?
That's fantastic. If it works for you, do it. I just couldn't take money for preaching stuff that came out of here pretending that this is how God said it. I couldn't go to bed at night saying, I'm here to talk about truth and I'm going to fib about the stuff that I'm talking about truth. It just didn't add up to me. I had a lot of restlessness. So I left. To the community point, yeah, there's wonderful community that can be built by everyone davening at the same shul, everyone doing the same thing. It's wonderful. I've built community elsewhere without it. It took a lot of practice and doing, but it can be done. Thank you for asking. Go ahead.
What you're doing
Dave.
right now, why couldn't you do it in the context of the shul? We're in a shul right now,
I don't understand.
meaning you could be a traditional rabbi and
I
teach what you're
could
teaching
be.
right now, I think. I mean, maybe no shul.
I want to be able to read from both sides of the Bible. I want to be able to quote Muhammad. I want to be able to, and I don't want a board of directors telling me you have to be doing exclusively Jewish things because you're Jewish. My job is to be a rabbi, which is to teach. And what is the highest priority of what I could teach is love, acceptance, kindness. So I'm prioritizing that over Jewish identity. It makes Jews feel uncomfortable. I get that. I've heard that a lot. Yeah.
Not necessarily good.
Let's both shrug at each other. Yes, sir.
I hear a lot from Orthodox communities, at least in New York, of rabbis who don't run shuls, rabbis who play all different roles in the community, and often have trained in different ways, certainly from Reform movements. Are there things about the way you are as a rabbi that may be something similar to those experiences? That makes sense.
I don't understand.
I'm not sure how to say it. So we can talk later.
Let's talk later. Yes, ma'am. You want me to pull my pants? She asked what makes me Jewish, and I would say my parents. My tradition, what I grew up in. I grew up coming to services, going to services. I got ordained as a rabbi. It's very hard to not feel Jewish when you're a rabbi. Yeah.
Something important is that the representative of schools, it still sticks with you and talking about love and teaching people about love.
This is a via hafta. Like this is the two things. One, so I do the whole Shema, which includes the via hafta, that it's about, here's my understanding of the Shema. Listen, instead of Israel, it would be, listen, all of you who struggle with God. Adonai Eloheinu, God is God. God is our God, and it's all one. I feel a connectedness, and that love is, and then the next thing we do after we say that is we say how important love is. I feel like a Care Bear, like I should have nothing wrong with Care Bears. One more question and then we'll go have a little bit of food and I'll be signing books. Go for it.
Your mother's comment to your son was really kind and inclusive.
Good.
I don't think an apology was necessary. I think an apology might be deserved only in the other direction.
Mom's read the book. I agree. Jane thought it was an insult. I did not think of it as an insult.
She said the right thing. She was trying to include yourself. She probably get a lot from her.
I get a lot from her. Yeah. She's my mom. Yes. Yes. I really enjoy going to churches to speak. One of my favorite lines to say is a lot of you are used to talking to a rabbi. Yes, my message, it's what I'm saying is fits for most liberal religious communities. I love doing this. I cannot believe you are here. I talked to this fool on the walk here and you were on your way here. That's amazing. Okay, let's all go get some cookies, some snacks and sign some books. Thank you.